And the anime award goes to...
And the anime award goes to...
Solo Leveling.
Solo Leveling! Solo!
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Another year, another Crunchyroll awards. Last year was the JJK awards, this year it's Solo Leveling, with it winning multiple categories and most importantly anime of the year. To be honest, I shouldn't be surprised, since time and time again it's been shown that the more popular series wins the categories. So I just want to go through all the categories and share my thoughts on them. First of all, I'm going to skip most of the other voice artist performances. I'm just going to do English and Japanese since those are the two I watch. For the Japanese voice artist, for me, like most of these, it was a mix-up between Apothecary Diaries and Freyrin, and Aoi Yuki won the category for Mao Mao, so I'm happy with this. As for the English voice performance, for me it was a mix between Armin and Freyrin, but Solo Leveling got the dub. With this one though, I'm actually kind of okay with, since it was for season 1 when Jinrui actually goes through a transformation and Alex Lee changes his voice to go with it. If it was season 2, on the other hand, I would be calling BS, since Jinrui has the most deadpan voice throughout it. This is also a problem I have with the Crunchyroll awards, which is that they don't say which season of the anime is being nominated. So we get people voting thinking it's season 2 of Solo Leveling instead of season 1. I don't really have anything to say about the best ending sequence, since I can't remember any of them. As for best opening sequence, Dandadan came out with a victory, which again I'm fine with since I think the song is okay, but the visuals were great. I was between that and Kaiju number 8. Best anime song is one I somewhat disagree with, as the Dandadan OP won. As I just stated, I think the song is mostly okay. I think the second half of the song goes into a more normal sounding song, which I didn't really like compared to the first half of the song. I much prefer Mashal's theme, but I am happy that Creepy Nuts won the award since I've been a fan since I watched Call of the Night. For the best score, Solo Leveling wins, which I disagree with since Dandadan, Freyrin and Look Back had better OSTs in my opinion. Dandadan had a varied soundtrack that fits the show, which I can only describe as something like alien funk, while Look Back has that gorgeous movie soundtrack that movies like A Silent Voice and any Makoto Shinkai films have, and Freyrin has that epic medieval soundtrack that befits the show. While Solo Leveling does have a pretty good OST, I think these were way better. Must Protect at All Cost character goes to Anya from Spy Family, which I have no problem with since her character is basically designed to win this type of award. Best supporting character was a tie between Fern and Jinchi for me, with Fern winning, and again I have no problem with it since she was an incredible supporting character. I haven't watched enough slice of life anime this year to have much of an input, besides I'm sad that Sound Euphonium didn't win, but I haven't watched any of the other nominees to know if they're better. Best drama we got Freyrin. Again, it was a toss-up for me between that and Apothecary Diaries. For best isekai, ReZero takes the cake, which I'm fine with since Slime Isekai was a slower season and people didn't like it even though I enjoyed it. Best action anime goes to, yep, checks notes, it's Solo Leveling. And look, I've already said everything I need to say about Solo Leveling in one of my previous videos, so I'll just say this. Out of all the nominees, it was honestly one of the weaker choices. The only one I considered below it was Demon Slayer, and that's just because it was a training arc. Beautiful animation, sure, but let's be real, not exactly peak action storytelling or choreography. Meanwhile, there were way stronger candidates. Windbreaker, for example, once it picks up, the action is crisp, it's grounded, it's intense. Again, it just feels like Solo Leveling won because it's the loudest show in the room, not because it actually delivered the best action. I think best comedy was one category that I think any of the nominees could have won, to be honest, but Mashal edged out the victory. Just like with Slice of Life, I haven't really watched any of the romance nominees except for Run My Half, so I don't have anything to say. I'm happy with the best background art win since Freyrin has this painterly background art that sets it above the other nominees in my opinion. Best director goes to Keiichiro Sato for Freyrin, which I'm fine with since I don't really know any of them. Best character design was actually one of the hardest categories for me to call. It was a legit triple threat between Dandadan, Delicious and Dungeon. All three had incredibly strong and distinct visual identities, and honestly, I would have been satisfied with any of them taken. But in the end, Dandadan came out on top. Dandadan just explodes with personality. The character designs are wild, expressive, and super creative, and the way it reimagines and stylizes folklore creatures gives it a fresh aesthetic. But that's not to downplay the others. Kaiju number 8 nails it with the sleek, intimidating kaiju forms, and the cast looks very distinct as well. And Delicious and Dungeon Man, that show is stacked with great designs, tons of variety. So yeah, Dandadan was a right call, but it was definitely a tough category with no wrong answers. I don't get how Demon Slayer won best animation. Hell, I think Solo Leveling was a better choice than that. Obviously, I think something like Dandadan or Freyrin should have won in my opinion. Okay, how the f didn't Ninja Kamui win best original anime? Like, come on. The anime that probably had the hardest fall off that year. Was it because the anime was so hyped at the start? Again, we're seeing the more popular series are the ones that most likely win the awards. For the best new series out of Dandadan, Delicious in Dungeon, Freyrin, Kaiju number 8, Solo Leveling, and Apothecary Diaries, this is gonna make me throw my head into a TV. Solo Leveling wins again, and again I think it's the least deserving. Okay, but seriously, how did that 8-episode training arc win Best Continuing Anime Series? Demon Slayer looked pretty good as always, but when you stack it up against the other shows, it just doesn't add up. One Piece, Bleach, and My Hero Academia were into or just finishing arc. Meanwhile, Demon Slayer gave us barely any real story movement and still walked away with the win. At this point, I'm starting to feel like Demon Slayer is Crunchyroll's golden child. No matter what kind of season it has, it's always guaranteed to take home awards. I skipped past one category because I think it was the most egregious, that being the main character. We had Freyrin, Kafka from Kaijin No. 8, Okurun and Momo from Dandadan, Mao Mao from the Apothecary Diaries, and finally Jinwoo. And of course, they gave it to the person whose only character development was to become hotter, OP, and become a husk of a character. Meanwhile, characters like Freyrin and Mao Mao had actual depth, they changed, they made you feel something. Even Okurun and Mao Mao brought more personality in a single episode than Jinwoo did all season. Any of the other nominees would have made more sense, literally any of them. Attack on Titan gets a Global Impact Award, which I mean obviously that show's been like a phenomenon for like what, 10 plus years now, and of course it was gonna get it. Film of the Year went to Fujimoto's Look Back, and honestly anyone who's watched it knows why. It's a quiet, emotional gut punch, just raw storytelling and beautiful animation. And now we circle back to the anime of the year. Like I said before, Solo Leveling came out with the win. Again, I think it's the weakest nominee, with Kaijin No. 8 being more of a fun romp than Solo Leveling and the others having more meat on their bone per se. I mean, that one episode of Dandadan made me feel more than anything Solo Leveling season 1 or 2 has done, and I consider the other 3 shows some of the best shows of the 2020s. And yet again, for the past couple of years, the award goes to an anime with the most engagement, mostly meaning action heavy shows. Last year it was JJK winning over shows like Vinland Saga and Oshinoko, and this year it's no different, Solo Leveling winning against other shows. I think there are 2 clear paths Crunchyroll could take with the anime awards. Right now they're in this awkward middle ground that satisfies casual viewers but not more critical ones. On one hand, they could lean fully into what these awards are, an audience-driven popularity contest. Rebranding it as something like the Crunchyroll Audience Awards would strip it of its pretense of prestige and clarify its purpose. That kind of framing would better reflect what we're watching, a snapshot of what's resonating most with Crunchyroll's Western-facing audience. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, and more importantly, it would give Crunchyroll the freedom to celebrate what's popular without having to pretend that popularity and quality are always aligned. On the other hand, if Crunchyroll wants the award to carry a more critical weight, if they want to be taken more seriously by industry heads, then they need to go in the other direction. That means giving the panel of judges more influence. Right now there's a 70-30 split towards the judges. Crunchyroll could take a cue from something like the Game Awards, which uses 90-10 split. That kind of shift would focus on craftsmanship and storytelling rather than just hype and exposure. And if they go that route, they could also build a more robust and diverse judging panel from people across the anime industry. Right now though, the awards sit in this limbo. They have enough judge involvement to have this air of professionalism, but not enough to actually tip the scales if millions of people vote for the most popular series. So what ends up is that these flashy, action-heavy series, often with a strong presence on social media, sweep multiple categories. It's not necessarily because it's the best in all these categories, but because it's the most watched and talked about by a fan base that might not have seen much else this year. And that's not a dig about action anime, they're popular for a reason, and many are incredibly well made. But when the same types of show dominate every year, it feels like they're more rewarding visibility than anything. So whether Crunchyroll leans more into community celebration or towards curated recognition, either direction would be more coherent than what we have now. The middle ground just leaves a lot of people dissatisfied.